So I'm going to show you the way I hoop towels. I'm sure there are many ways to do this, but this is the way I do it. I hoop my stabilizer. This is just a medium weight tearaway. And then I lay the hoop with the stabilizer in it on top of my grid, and I am able to see the lines on the grid through the paper stabilizer. So then what I do is I just kind of, where my markings are on my hoop for my horizontal and my vertical, I just lay those on the line and I just kind of draw it. You can use a little ruler. You can see right here I kind of free-balled it, and then I thought, or free-handed it, and so then I decided just, and maybe I should make it more straight and use a ruler. So these rulers are great for that too. Now, the next thing I do, let me just pull this aside, I have a done woven towel. Love the done woven towels. Make sure you have this thing at the top so that if you want to hang it, you can do it. And you know, you can just never have enough done woven towels in your house. I don't know about you, but I like to throw these towels out about every 2-3 years because they just get nasty. I don't care how good of a laundry person you are. It's just always nice to have a fresh, clean towel in your kitchen. So first thing I do is I press my towel in half so I know where the center is, and I've already done that here, and I can see the fold. Then I take my template, and I've given you a paper template, and I pre-fold my template on these lines so that they fold easily. Then I decide the placement. Obviously I want my vertical line to be on this fold that I created. Kind of hard to see in this light, but there we go. And then I'm going to put a pin in each of the quadrants. And the reason why I put the pin in each of the quadrants is I don't want the pin overlapping any of the fold lines that I've already done. So here we go. Here we go. Alright. Okay, now I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it on my horizontal line. And I'm going to place that on the hoop like that. Make sure we're centered. So I'm going to place the folded line on my horizontal line, my hoop, and then I'm going to fold that over and fold back this way and put it on that horizontal or that vertical line, and that's going to be my hoop placement. Now I can guarantee you when I take this over to the machine, everything's going to shift on me, so I'm going to take some 505 spray, which somebody's going to grab for me real quick. And I'm just going to take a little squirt. Of course, I get an empty can. And I'm just going to do a little squirt. Maybe there's enough to stick it. We shall see. New can. Yay. Thank you. I've got my hubby helping me today. Alright, then I'm going to fold that down. That should be enough to, yeah, keep it kind of in place. You don't want a lot of this. You don't want your towel real sticky. So just a little bit. Now I'm going to carry everything over to the sewing machine, and I'll meet you over there. So once I get the hoop back into the machine, I want to add a basting stitch, and I also want to find the center. So I'm going to use my positioning first to scooch so that my needle is directly over the crosshairs. So I'm going to do that first, and you'll just need to refer to your machine as to how you do it on your machine. Alright, once I've done that, then I want to add a basting stitch, and I'm good to go. I'm going to remove the template because you don't want to stitch over all the paper. That would be a big mess. Alright, the first thing that's going to happen will be that basting stitch, so I'm going to start with that. Alright, first thing is the pineapple applique. So you want to have gold thread in your machine and gold thread in your bobbin. The first thing that's going to stitch will be the placement line. Next, I want you to lay your gold pineapple fabric over the placement line, tape it so that you don't run over your fingers, and let's tack this fabric to the towel. I'm going to take the hoop out of the machine, but I'm going to leave everything in the hoop, and I'm going to trim away all this excess fabric around the pineapple shape. Once you've cut away all that excess fabric, go ahead and return the hoop to the machine. And the next thing that's going to stitch out will be that cross hatching on the pineapple. So you might want to change to a darker gold, or you can keep the same gold. Your gold bobbin should be just fine, even if your thread's a little darker. The next thing that's going to stitch out will be the crown or the leaves on top of the pineapple. And since green and yellow are kind of complementary colors, I'm just going to leave the yellow bobbin in the machine, and I'm just going to stitch the placement line with the gold. And I'm still leaving the gold bobbin and the gold thread in the machine because the green is going to cover it all up. I've laid my fabric over the placement lines, taped it down real good so I don't run over my fingers, and now I'm going to start the machine and let it tack this green fabric to the towel. So when the stitching is done, go ahead and take the hoop out of the machine, but leave the project in the hoop and trim away all this excess fabric. So the next thing that's going to stitch will be the satin stitch around the edge of the pineapple. So I went ahead and changed back to my lighter gold for that color, but I still have that gold bobbin in the bottom portion. Next, we're going to stitch out the satin stitch around the green leaves. So go ahead and change your bobbin and your top thread to green. And let's get started. The next thing that's going to stitch will be the lettering B of pineapple. So I don't know what color you want for that. I'm going to use orange, so I put orange in the bobbin and orange on the top thread. But you can use whatever color you like. The very last part that's going to stitch will be all these words: stand tall, wear a crown, always be sweet. I'm going to do mine in blue, so I have blue bobbin and blue top thread, but you can do yours in whatever color you want. once the design has finished stitching, go ahead and take it out of the hoop, remove the basting stitches and the stabilizer, and you have yourself a cute little towel. Now, I started with the pineapple for a couple reasons. One, because I wanted one for my kitchen, and two, because it has a double applique, so I wanted you to see how that is done. And I think it's also the most complicated of all of them. Once you've done this one, they're all easy from there on out. The grape is also 2 appliques, so just be mindful of that, and then it's just the grateful lettering. The lettering always comes last. And then the watermelon, you do have a piece of applique along with stitching for your rind and the outside of the watermelon. And then the easiest of all, of course, is the pears, because it's just straight up embroidery. So I hope you enjoy.